When you finally awaken to your true self, the world begins to feel dangerous in unexpected ways. Carl Jung spent decades studying people who experienced spiritual awakening, and what he discovered haunted him for life. The greatest danger for an awakened person isn't ignorance or evil, but the unconscious envy and shadow projections of those around them. Jung identified 5 truths that spiritually awakened individuals must never disclose to anyone. These aren't about being mysterious or manipulative. They're psychological survival strategies rooted in how the unconscious operates in those who haven't done their inner work. Today, I'll reveal the 5 things Jung warned awakened individuals to keep hidden, and why exposing them can destroy everything you've built. Let's begin with the most perilous secret of all. The first thing you must never reveal is your unwavering certainty in what you perceive. Once you awaken spiritually, your perception shifts. You no longer doubt your intuition. You trust what you feel about people, situations, and unseen dynamics. This isn't arrogance. Jung called it differentiated perception. You've integrated your shadow, strengthened your intuition, and learned to rely on the information your unconscious mind gathers. But here lies the trap. When you express this certainty, others perceive it as a threat to their reality. Jung found that those who haven't integrated their shadows cannot bear someone who fully trusts their own perceptions. Your certainty triggers their inner doubt, and in the unconscious, doubt quickly turns into rage. Jung observed that awakened people who openly displayed confidence in their perceptions became targets of what he termed the righteous judge archetype. They were attacked not for being wrong, but for being sure. The accusation is always the same. You think you know everything. You're arrogant. You're judging others. Yet this is projection. The awakened person doesn't claim omniscience. They simply trust their insight. That trust, however, is intolerable to those still imprisoned by self-doubt and people-pleasing habits. Consider what happens when you tell someone you can see through their facade. Even if you say it kindly, even if you're completely right, they will turn against you. Why? Because you've broken the unconscious pact that sustains most social systems. We all agree not to see what we see. Everyone silently commits to preserving comfortable illusions. Revealing your certainty violates that unspoken agreement, and breaking unconscious contracts always invites punishment. Jung documented countless cases where awakened individuals lost careers, relationships, and reputations merely for expressing confidence in their perceptions. The answer is not to return to uncertainty, but to keep your certainty private. See everything. Trust what you see, but don't share your vision with those still asleep. Your certainty is your power, but only if you protect it from those who would destroy it. The second secret you must never reveal is your inner map of transformation. Spiritual awakening doesn't make you change at random. It makes you change with purpose. Jung called this the individuation process. You consciously identify your wounds, integrate your shadow, develop your weaker functions, and move towards psychological wholeness. This isn't a vague journey, it's precise. You know where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. You hold a map of your inner world that most people never develop. But exposing that map is dangerous for one reason. Once others realize you have a plan for your evolution, they know they can no longer control you. And control is what unconscious people crave from those around them. Look at family systems. Most are structured around dysfunction. Someone plays the victim, someone the rescuer, someone the scapegoat. These roles aren't random. They're unconscious agreements that preserve the system's balance. When you awaken and begin integrating your shadow, you stop playing your assigned role. You see the game clearly and refuse to participate. This terrifies the system, because your growth threatens everyone's unconscious agreements. If you reveal your map of transformation, you hand others the blueprint to sabotage your progress. They'll attack exactly where you're evolving, trying to drag you back into the old roles at the very moment you're breaking free. Jung observed this pattern again and again. Awakened individuals would open up about their healing journey to family or close friends, only to find those same people attacking them at their most vulnerable moments of transformation. The solution, Jung said, is strategic silence. Continue your inner work. Build your map. Transform methodically, but keep your plan hidden. Let others witness the results of your evolution, not the process itself. That is how you shield your growth from unconscious interference. Remember what Jung noted about empaths who finally break. They had been quietly gathering data on their abusers for years, constructing their inner strategy in silence. The awakened person's transformation works the same way. Silent, structured, strategic, and invisible to anyone who might try to halt it. The third thing you must never disclose is your boundary for betrayal. When you integrate your shadow, your reaction to betrayal transforms. Before awakening, you may have tolerated abuse, excused others' behavior, or blamed yourself for their cruelty. After awakening, you develop what Jung described as selective empathy. You still care deeply, but you stop sacrificing yourself for those who have already revealed their true nature. This boundary isn't about revenge or cruelty, it's about clarity. You know exactly which behaviors you will never tolerate again, and precisely what actions you'll take if someone crosses the line. That is psychological maturity. Yet revealing this boundary is incredibly dangerous. When manipulative people know your exact limits, they'll push right up to them, or worse, try to provoke you into enforcing your boundaries too soon, making you appear hostile. Jung documented how awakened empaths became psychologically unshakable once they learned to uphold boundaries without warning. The manipulator would cross the line, expecting forgiveness and tolerance. Instead, they would meet swift and final consequences. And because the awakened person had never announced their limits in advance, the manipulator had no chance to prepare, justify, or gather allies. Think about what happens when you tell someone, "If you betray me again, I'll cut you off completely." You've just handed them your playbook. Now they know they must make you doubt yourself before betraying you again. They'll plan to make others view you as irrational. They'll gaslight you into questioning your own perceptions. But when you keep your boundaries private, betrayal brings immediate consequence, without negotiation, explanation, or drama. The awakened individual simply steps away, leaving the manipulator stunned and confused. This is what Jung meant by the weaponization of compassion. True compassion protects itself. It doesn't announce its limits to those eager to exploit them. Keep your boundary for betrayal entirely secret. Know what you will and will not accept, but never reveal that knowledge to anyone who might test it. The fourth secret that must remain hidden is your sacred wound. Every spiritually awakened person has endured deep trauma. Jung called this the compulsion to repeat. Before integration, people unconsciously recreate their original wounds with new faces and new situations, endlessly reliving what they don't understand. But after shadow integration, the wound transforms. It becomes the root of your power. You comprehend the pattern that once ruled you. You've processed the pain, absorbed its lesson, and emerged with wisdom that can heal others. It's beautiful. It's the true hero's journey. Yet exposing your fully healed wound is perilous. It invites others to pull you back into victimhood. Remember Jung's insights on archetypes. The eternal victim carries immense unconscious energy. When people see that you've suffered but are no longer broken, they instinctively try to pull you back into that role. Why? Because your healing threatens their justification for staying hurt. If you share your sacred wound with someone still trapped in victim consciousness, they'll begin treating you as if you're still damaged. They'll reference your trauma as though it still defines you. They'll offer pity when you need respect, remind you of pain when you're focused on strength. It's rarely malicious, it's unconscious. People who haven't faced their own pain can't stand being around someone who has turned theirs into power. Your healing becomes a mirror reflecting their refusal to grow. Jung also warned of another danger. Revealing your sacred wound attracts what he called negative synchronicity. New people appear, unconsciously reenacting the exact dynamics that caused your original trauma. It's as if the universe is testing whether you've truly integrated the lesson, by sending the same pattern disguised in a new form. When you keep your sacred wound private, you shield yourself from these unconscious repetitions. You can still share your wisdom and help others, but you do it from strength, not from shared pain. The awakened person understands their wound deeply, yet they don't display it to the world. They've turned it into medicine. And true medicine is given selectively to those ready to receive it, not shown to anyone who asks about your scars. The fifth and final secret you must never reveal is your uncanny perfection. It may sound contradictory, but stay with me. When you engage in deep shadow work, you develop what Jung called the conscious persona. You realize that the mask you wear in society is exactly that, a mask. But unlike those possessed by their persona, you use yours intentionally. You know how to present yourself in ways that put others at ease. You read social cues, sense emotional undercurrents, and adjust your behavior fluidly to fit the context. You're not fake, you're adaptable. You've cultivated a psychological sophistication that allows you to move through the world authentically while maintaining harmony with those around you. Here lies the danger. If you reveal that your persona is a conscious tool, people will feel manipulated, even when you're not manipulating them. They want to believe that what they see is the whole of you. They need to believe that your social mask is your real face. When you expose that you're more complex than your persona suggests, you unsettle people. They start questioning everything. If you can control how you appear, what else are you hiding? If you can read dynamics this clearly, what have you seen in me? Jung noticed that awakened individuals often developed nearly flawless social skills. But this very perfection became a liability because it exposed their heightened consciousness. Others began to feel observed, analyzed, or silently judged. The remedy is what Jung called hiding your light. You retain your ability to read people and navigate complexity, but you intentionally weave small imperfections into your persona. You let others see you as a bit clumsy, slightly unsure, visibly human. This isn't deception, it's strategic humility. It protects others from their own unconscious discomfort with your depth. You're not diminishing your light, you're softening its glare so others can stay near it without fear. Remember the scapegoat phenomenon Jung described? Highly developed individuals often became targets of collective shadow projection simply because their presence exposed the group's hidden dysfunction. By concealing your uncanny perfection, you protect yourself from becoming the vessel for everyone else's unintegrated shadow. Now that you know the 5 secrets, you may wonder whether keeping them hidden makes you manipulative or false. Jung addressed this clearly in his work on individuation. The purpose isn't to become secretive, it's to be complete while remaining functional. Think of it this way: a surgeon doesn't walk around explaining surgical procedures to strangers. A martial artist doesn't announce their rank to everyone they meet. Power that declares itself loses its potency. The awakened individual understands that consciousness itself is threatening to the unconscious world, not because awareness is hostile, but because it exposes what others are desperate to conceal. Your certainty exposes their doubt. Your transformation exposes their stagnation. Your boundaries expose their manipulation. Your healing exposes their self-pity. Your perfection exposes their inner disorder. You're not responsible for managing how others react to your growth, but you are responsible for safeguarding your development from those who would unconsciously sabotage it. Jung spent decades recording what happens when awakened individuals reveal too much too soon. They become targets, isolated, gaslit, and eventually broken by collective forces they never recognized. Not because they were wrong, but because they violated the unspoken limits of how much consciousness their environment could handle. These 5 secrets aren't about secrecy or retreat, they're about strategic awareness. You can still be genuine. You can still connect deeply with others. You can still use your gifts to heal, but you do it wisely. You share your certainty only with those who have earned the right to hear it. You reveal your transformation plan only to those who truly support your growth. You enforce your boundaries without alerting those who would test them. You guard your sacred wound from anyone who might exploit it. And you conceal your perfection from those who would twist it into a weapon against you. This is not manipulation. It is psychological sovereignty. And sovereignty, as Jung understood, requires both strength and the discernment to hide that strength from those unprepared to honor it. Here lies Jung's revelation that changes everything. The awakened person's greatest power is not in what they say, but in what they see while saying nothing. Silence, fused with perception, creates a psychological field that manipulative people cannot penetrate. When you protect these 5 secrets, you become what Jung called the conscious observer. You see everything. You understand the hidden games. You recognize shadow projections before they fully take shape. Yet you do not react. You do not justify. You do not reveal what you know. This quiet composure drives unconscious people mad. They thrive on reaction, on argument, on emotional chaos. They expect you to defend yourself or prove your truth, but the awakened person does neither. They simply observe, make strategic moves, and enforce boundaries without a word of explanation. Remember what Jung said about the empath who finally integrates their shadow: they do not lose empathy. They perfect it. which means they also perfect strategy. The awakened person operates from the same principle. They are not less conscious. They are conscious enough to know when to reveal their awareness and when to protect it. If you are spiritually awake, you already understand this truth. You've likely lost relationships, opportunities, or entire chapters of your life because you revealed too much to people who weren't ready for your depth. The good news is, you can begin guarding these 5 secrets right now. Stop broadcasting your certainty. Conceal your transformation plan. Keep your boundaries private. Protect your sacred wound. And hide your perfection from those who might misuse it. Doing this doesn't make you less authentic. It makes you more mature. Because true authenticity isn't about exposing everything to everyone. It's about being fully yourself while skillfully moving through a world still asleep to the level of awareness you embody. Jung's final insight into awakened individuals offers the perfect conclusion. Consciousness is not a destination, it's a responsibility. When you awaken, you become the guardian of your own awareness against forces that would unconsciously seek to destroy it. The 5 secrets are your armor. Keep them close. Trust your perception. Transform in silence. Enforce boundaries without warning. Protect your wounds from exploitation. And hide your perfection from those unable to handle it. This isn't about paranoia or withdrawal, it's about wisdom. Wisdom knows when to speak and when to remain silent. The spiritually awakened have mastered both. If you see yourself in Jung's portrait of the awakened individual, you belong to a rare group carrying consciousness forward for humanity. Share in the comments which of the 5 secrets resonates most deeply with you. Your experience mirrors that of countless others walking the same path. And if you're ready to explore more of Jung's insights on navigating an unconscious world while maintaining awareness, watch my video The Day the Empath Snaps, where I uncover Jung's most chilling case study on what happens when empaths integrate their shadow and become psychologically invincible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next dimension.